In theory, there are negotiations underway right now.
Yes, and so they're meeting in different rooms. This is normal. This is what's happened in the last round of negotiations. My guess is the Pakistani prime minister is going back and forth. The Omani prime minister did this in the last two talks. It didn't go very well the last two times. It both ended in surprise U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran. So the Iranians are very skeptical. And then I'm hearing from analysts, and our colleague in the field is hearing too, the Iranians are very confident. They're going to push a very hard line here. They want to retain control of the Strait of Hormuz, and they're pushing for all fighting in Lebanon to stop immediately.
All right, we're going to continue to follow that. But, David, earlier this week, you wrote something that the Iranians have sort of said in different ways a few times about negotiating with the Trump administration. You wrote, even if the Iranian government wanted to reach an agreement, it would struggle to do so. Trump has failed to clearly articulate his aims for the war to the American public, to Congress, or to the world. His demands can't be met because they change almost daily, and none of his advisors has obvious influence over him. During a press conference yesterday about the war, in which top officials spent much of the time fawning over the president, Trump declared, "I have the best plan of all, but I'm not going to tell you what my plan is," which sounds typically Trumpian, David Graham, except it is problematic when you're actually trying to grind out an agreement.
Right. I mean, there's strategic ambiguity, and then there's a refusal to state what you actually want. It's very hard to have a negotiation if you aren't clear on what your objectives are, what your red lines are. And that's where the president is going into this negotiation. He clearly went into the ceasefire without a clear idea of what he wanted, because we came out of that with conflicting accounts from both sides of what exactly had been agreed to, even as temporary. And to go from that to a lasting agreement without clear direction from the U.S., I think is going to be basically impossible.
David Rohde, conflicting accounts. That's what happened last June. That's what happened when this war started. The Omanis told you one thing. The Iranians told us one thing. The Americans told us one thing. Is there something that comes of the idea that Kushner and Witkoff have, well, they're not really sidelined, they're there, but that J.D. Vance is in charge of this thing? J.D. Vance is upset to be the one senior person in the administration who thought this war was a bad idea.
Yes, the Iranians asked for J.D. Vance to be there. That's a big win for Iran, but it's because they view him as a skeptic of the war and not wanting this to all go forward. And then, again, these are just sort of experts talking. That's another sort of win for Iran. It sort of boosts their confidence. J.D. Vance also outranks every single
he's an
member.
Government official.
He is an elected government official, the second most powerful, official in the United States. And on the other side, you have their Speaker of Parliament. And so there's just a cultural difference. But I'm just hearing from all these experts that all these things are like wins and help this narrative back in Iran for the regime there to claim that the Americans are sort of on the ropes. So we'll see, and there'll be a lot of this nuance going back and forth. But the key things to watch, the main thing to watch today is Lebanon and any reduction in, there's huge pressure on the Iranians to help end the fighting there. And then there's been these conflicting reports about what's going on in the Strait of Hormuz. The president posted socially that large numbers of empty oil tankers are heading to the U.S. He made it sound like they're coming from the Strait of Hormuz. I talked to shipping experts. They're actually coming from Singapore.
Right.
And they would be coming towards the U.S. now because there is a ceasefire, and the hope is that there will be, transiting through the Strait of Hormuz now, but Iran has not agreed to that yet.